So the Sonos Beam was just released. I received this yesterday, and man, I am really, really impressed with the sound quality and how much tech they've packed into this little box. So of course you've got Madam A built into this if you so choose. You've got Airplay2 functionality, so it's kind of HomeKit compatible. It uses HDMI-ARC, so it's going to use a single HDMI port, although you can use an optical cable. It's got 4 woofers, 1 tweeter, 5 amps. And if you're lucky enough to have a pair of Sonos Ones or other Sonos equipment, you can then use this to do full Sonos surround sound. So anything coming out of the TV is able to get that full surround, which is a step up from what you'll get with the Apple HomePods using Airplay2. This sounds great, pretty easy to set up. Let's take a look. So the Sonos Beam doesn't actually fit in my light box, so I'm having to do this in another location, so you can see no white background here. This is a large box. It is the Sonos Beam Smart Compact Soundbar for your TV, and that's what really this is intended for, is unlike some of the Sonos just speaker products that they're there to play music on, this is really that AV component that really is going to make your whole AV system just sound better. And it is packed full of technology, right? This is a really a smaller version. So they've got the play bar and the play base as well. So it's a smaller version of that. The play base, play bar are somewhere around $1,000. This is about $500. So it's not inexpensive, but it does have all that Sonos technology, which it's pretty sweet, to be honest. So as we open this guy up, you'll see that this thing is packed in here really nicely. It's solidly packed in. It's protected. It's got this nice cloth around it to really protect the outside of it, and it's very minimalist. You've got Sonos, the logo on the front, and you've really only got those 3 buttons there on top of it. If we go within the package, the documentation's there. The nice thing is you've actually got not only the power cable, but that HDMI-ARC. And that cable is really where the magic happens. That's how the input comes out of your TV or I guess your amp back into the Sonos bar. So you've got the power cable here, and then of course you've got the HDMI. I think it's HDMI AVR or CEC, something like that. It's a specialized HDMI cable nonetheless, and they provide it for you so you don't have to go looking, which is nice. You've also got this optical to HDMI. And what this does is if you don't have the HDMI AVR on your TV, because not all TVs will, you can still use this. You won't get the full TV control, but again, they've included all the parts you're going to need. You've got what looks suspiciously like a HomeKit code here, so I'm kind of curious what that's going to be for later on. I don't know right now. And then you've got the instructions, which are as simple as 1, 2, 3, download the Sonos app, add the Beam, and away we go. Start playing around. So here we are in the Sonos app on the iPad, and we're going to go into settings, and we're going to add a new speaker, right? And this is really simple. Connect to power. Okay, continue. Wait for the green light to be flashing. So once we're sure that's flashing, it's going to take a minute or two. So by the time you plug it in, come back out, launch this, it's probably flashing already. You can just hit the continue button. So once you do that, it's going to say, hey, look, we found your new Sonos. It is a black Beam. Would you like to set up a player? We're going to push that button and say, yes, we do. And it's going to ask us to go to the back of the device now and press the pairing button. So once you've pushed that button, it will then finish the connection process. This is going to use BLE Bluetooth to push your Wi-Fi settings over, unless, of course, you've got this plugged into the Ethernet port, which would work as well. So once those settings are done, we're now going to say, okay, you've added your Beam. Choose the room you want to put it in. We can choose the room. I'm going to put this in my living room. So I can just type that in here. There we go. The living room is selected. Now I'm going to tap on that continue button. Home theater setup. We'd like to connect your Beam to your TV. If you have a subwoofer or surrounds, we'll help you with that too. Do you want a sub? No, I do not want to add a sub right now. Add surrounds. Well, I do have surrounds that I want to add, but apparently it's assuming that the speakers haven't been set up yet. So we'll come back to that. So I'm going to go back and tell it that I do not want to use surrounds. And it's going to say, okay, we'll set it up without your surrounds or your subwoofer. We can add those at a later time. I'm going to need to do a update, which is good. New software is always good. So this software update may take a while, and I will say that when I did this on my Sonos Ones, I had to plug them into the Ethernet port on my router to be able to get this to go. But in this case, the Wi-Fi worked perfectly. It's going to update the account. Please wait while we add your players to your Sonos account. There's a lot of waiting going on here. It is what it is. It is worth it at the end, I will tell you that. So now we're to the TV part. So okay, turn the TV on. Now connect with the HDMI-ARC audio return channel. So we need to find that on the TV. Look for the ARC port on your TV. So in my case, that was kind of easy. HDMI was marked as the ARC port, HDMI 1. So I found that port. Of course, I click on the button. I am connected to the ARC port, which is great. Use the provided HDMI cable. And again, I don't know that much about the cables, but the ARC apparently is a specific kind of cable you need to use. So definitely use the one that's in the box. It's going to make your life easier. So I found the ARC port. I'm tapped on the I'm connected button. Enable audio out. So open up your LG TV. So it's actually identified that I've got an LG TV, which is kind of cool. Select the audio out and turn on SimpLink. So SimpLink is the HDMI ARC as LG calls it. So I'm going to put a link in the video details because different manufacturers call this different things. It took a little bit for me to find this. Funny enough, it was not in the typical settings menu or the audio menu. It was in the input menu. But once I did find it, it just worked. So you push that test connection button and away we go. Look at that. Everything works. That's great. The hardest part was really finding the right settings for my particular TV model. So it's now going to give me the option to add another player. I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to say not now. And then it will take me through the True Play speaker tuning, which is like how Sonos figures out the acoustic characteristics of your room. So this is, I think, only available on the iPhone. Basically, you just walk around the room while it's playing some test tones and move your phone up and down, right? Which is kind of cool. You can also turn on Amazon's Madam A on this if you so choose. I do not want to do that in that I've already got an Echo in the room and I don't want them dueling over trying to decide which one that I'm trying to talk to. So I mentioned that I was going to come back later and turn on the surround sound. So let's do that now. So in my case, this wasn't so obvious because I already had my pair of Sonos Ones set up as a left and right pair. And what I need to do is kind of move those from the existing pair into the surround sound group with the Beam. So I'm going to add the surrounds. It's going to say, okay, I'm going to add two Sonos Ones, add the left one, and it's going to say, look for the green light. Well, I didn't see a green light. I see a white light because the white light was, I guess, means that it's already been set up. So you can kind of reclaim it. So I'm going to walk over. I'm going to push the button on the back of the speaker. And once I press that, like magic, there we are connecting. And of course, it was already connected, so we're good, right? Okay, so we added the left surround. So now we want to continue and we want to add the right surround. So we're going to click on that continue button and do the same process. So because we're adding the second one, I'm taking the last thing out of the room, living room R. It's going to remove that room automatically for me. Again, white light, right? I'm going to press the button on the back of it, and it will then just be automatically added into the surround sound group with the Beam, right? So now I have a Beam and I have the two Sonos Ones, and this automatically just kind of figures itself out, which is really, really cool. The other thing this does, which is really nice, is it uses the audio output coming out of your TV. So anything that's plugged into your TV is going to be able to take advantage of this. So if you've got a Wii U or you've got a still got a Blu-ray DVD player or anything that basically has an HDMI, a Roku, a Amazon Fire TV, whatever that is, will be able to take advantage of the great audio that you're getting out of the Sonos Beam and the entire set here, right? Which is kind of cool. So it's going to go through this pairing and make sure that everything all works together. So right now we've got the 5 speakers in the Beam as well as the 2 Sonos Ones that are all going to be working together to provide this Dolby, I think it's 5.0 because I don't have the subwoofer, audio experience. So once we're done that, it's going to ask us to tune our speakers again, which is important because now I have the Sonos Ones as well as the Beam all working together. So I'm going to skip this and I'm not going to run you guys through this, but just let me say it was a cool experience because it showed how the surround sound was going to work because I had the sounds coming from the Beam as well as the Sonos ones coming from all over the room. And it was obvious how that was working. Really cool, really crystal clear quality, sounded great. So this video would not be complete if I didn't include the obligatory HomeKit piece, right? And what's cool about this with the speakers, I don't even need a code. You just click on that don't have a code button, click on living room, and the entire Sonos Beam, all 5 speakers plus the 2 Sonos ones are exposed as a single entity, as a single accessory. So the living room that's it. I only get one. I don't get the 4 separate or 3 separate icons or accessories, right? I get the one accessory here, which is kind of nice. Of course, this is just like anything else. I can then put it, rename it to Sonos, not Sinus, Sonos Beam. I can put it in the appropriate room that I want it to be in. And by putting it in the right room, that means that I can access it using Siri, and I can issue voice commands like play whatever I'm listening to on my iPhone, play this in the living room, and it will transfer over using Airplay2 into the living room. So one thing that I did notice here is that the Sonos, the pair of Sonos ones that I had previously set up, they're still here. So I'm going to have to manually go through and delete the Sonos ones. So if you're kind of doing this, be aware of that. You don't want to leave orphans, right? But that Sonos Beam isn't actually just the Sonos Beam. It's a Sonos Beam plus the 2 Sonos ones. So it's got that whole sound thing going on. So I love the HomePod. The HomePod is, it's great sound quality. It acts as a home hub. All that's great. All that's well and good. But for bang for the buck for money, the Sonos Beam is awesome. It sounds great. It pairs for that full surround sound with Sonos ones, so the Sonos ones. And to be honest, you can buy 2 Sonos ones for the same price as a single HomePod, depending on where you live, which is pretty amazing. So you get that full audio stereo experience from the Sonos, and you can use your Spotify music, you can use your Amazon Prime music, a lot more capabilities. Pair that with the Beam, and it sounds great. And again, you don't have the limitations that Apple's got with the Apple TV. Apple has some opinions about the content that you can play through their system, right? So overall, I think I would highly recommend anybody looking to really kind of pimp out your home theater system. Sonos it's a bargain for what you're getting for the price, I believe. The Beam finally makes that bar really within an affordable range. Yes, it's $500. It's not cheap. I'm not discounting that. But for what you get for that quality, I think it's a great price. What do you guys think? Put it in the comments below. Questions, anything that I've missed out on answering, definitely let me know. If you find out things you want to share, absolutely do that as well. Likes, always appreciated. Subscribe if you haven't. It is a big deal to me. It helps a lot to motivate me, push me to keep me going forward. And I'm almost at that 1,000 subscriber barrier, which is another tier in the YouTube system. So that would be awesome and would help me out. And if you want to learn how to make your house just a little bit smarter using Apple HomeKit, do me a favor. Check out the video details below where there is a link to my Udemy course. Thanks.